beautiful, I guess. Well, if it has been stressful, well, you've come to the end of the day. Now is a good time to relax, sit in front of your TV and spend some time with us on our world today. Well, my name is Tomi Oyebade and you're watching another beautiful episode of Our World, the world of youth, the world of champions, the world of pace setters. Today on Our World, we'll be looking at a topic during the interview segment. We have a guest with us, and together with the guest, we'll be looking at the topic, the leadership question. Now, the word leadership is thrown around a lot among young people who are ambitious, who have visions, and who desire to do things. And even when we're doing the blame game, when we want to shift the blame to the government, to our leaders in the church, we talk a lot about leadership. So today we'll be looking at the word leadership, the leadership role. How do we participate? How do we contribute to the general impact in our society, in the church, in the family, and even in our personal lives? To lead us in this discussion today is a dear friend of mine. I'm excited to see him today. I'm happy and very proud of him. His name is Michael Olaniyan. He's a life coach, a lawyer, a practicing lawyer, and also a partner at ICQ Nigeria. Michael, good evening.
Good evening.
It's great to see you once again, really.
Same here. I'm excited seeing you.
Yeah. Michael, today we'll be looking at the topic, the leadership question. And from your perspective, you're talking about the role we play in this leadership thing. You know, the leadership word now, because of its consistent and common usage, a lot of people see it as something abstract, something that somebody else has to do and they have to benefit from. Now, what's your definition of leadership?
I think leadership is about influence. It's about casting a vision and pursuing it.
Okay.
Getting people to do the things that they need to do.
Okay.
And when necessary, doing it yourself.
Okay.
That's leadership.
Okay. Basically, influence
Yes.
and casting a vision.
vision.
Do you think everyone is a leader? I mean, if everyone is leading, who follows?
You said the question of leadership comes in various phases.
Okay.
We all must follow. We follow someone. You follow someone, somebody follows you. That's the way it goes. However, if you don't have followers, also like it is said, then you're only taking a stroll. So it's important that you have followers. It's also important that you know that basically you're a leader. God created us to lead.
Okay.
He said we should dominate. That's the injunction for us. Sorry, I'm using the legal terms now.
It's
But
okay.
that's our injunction. We have to lead. We have to dominate. We have to take charge of the environment. And once you're doing this, you're a leader.
Okay, so taking charge of the environment. Now, a lot of times I mean, this leadership issue, as far as I'm concerned, has been overflowed. It's just time for us to now pick up our weight and begin to do the things that we've heard over time. What are some of the hindrances to the reason why we have not seen the quality of leadership that we should see in Nigeria today and the impact that should be felt in our society today? Why haven't we seen these things?
The first thing is, when you consider the question of leadership as an abstract subject, then we will never really grasp what we need to do. Because leadership is not just a concept that is abstract, it's actually an action word.
Okay.
When you lead, you're actually doing things. You are getting people to do some things. So the problem in Nigeria, let me bring it home. The problem in Nigeria is we have so many people who are desirous of leading, but who don't want to follow.
Yeah.
So we have so many people who are interested more in what the leaders are doing wrong and criticizing them without bothering to find out what they should do to correct the situation.
Okay.
Fine, we may not have it the way it should be. We may not have the right kinds of leaders in quotes now. However, what are you doing in your own sphere? What are you doing in your own environment? What are you doing to better the lives of the people around you? Are you when you get there, will you be a better leader? Are you even going to lead at all, or are you just going to boss people around? Those are questions that we need to ask ourselves. It's not a job that should be left to some people. Leadership is not a concept. Leadership is an action. It's a thing that should be done.
Okay, so you're saying that what are we doing in our capacities as individuals? Now, some people believe that people occupying positions have been chosen as leaders to do everything, and they are just supposed to sit back. Some people believe that those who have money, who have wealth, who have fame, who have the name, are the leaders. And some people believe that those who are educated are the leaders. Who exactly? Okay, define who a leader is. How do I become the leader that I ought to be? I'm a student in my second year or even my fresh year in the university. I'm watching the show, you're telling me I need to do something. Excuse me, I'm young, I'm in school, I'm just studying. I don't know anything. I mean, how do I go about that?
Primarily, leadership is about taking responsibility. Okay. That's what we should understand first. You need to take responsibility for whatever comes your way. And then, on a larger scale, take responsibility for whatever happens in your environment. You need to begin to accept the fact that whatever happens to you is your fault. Okay. Like I always say, if it is to be, it is up to me. Whatever change I expect, I have to influence it, I have to push it, I have to drive it. My friend Charles Ajibwe will always say something. They say, if there is a change that you need to cause that will affect you, you better affect the change. Because if you don't affect that change, if you don't make it happen, it will affect you negatively. And then by that time, you don't have any choice. You just have to accept whatever comes your way. Now let's get back to the question. How can you take charge? How can you be responsible? The first thing is, if you are a student, you need to first understand that it is your responsibility to make good grades. It is not the responsibility of the lecturer or the teacher, whichever, to award good grades to you. You have to earn it. We have a system in Nigeria where we don't want to earn anything. We think everything should come on a platter of gold.
We deserve it.
We deserve it. You say we don't run. We cannot expect that we will deserve everything. Even if you deserve it, it will be based on merit. It will be because you have earned it, not because someone just looks at you and likes your face and then gives it to you. You hear a lot of words like the lecturer gave me
an
F.
But when you make an A, you say I made an
A. So I hear a lot of those things. You hear things like I was given microbiology. I wanted to study medicine. No, you were not given microbiology. You earned microbiology. You did not earn the right to study medicine. So we need to begin to take responsibility for whatever comes our way.
Okay.
Then whatever happens around you also, you need to begin to ask yourself, how have I allowed it? You see, there is nothing that happens around you that it's either you caused it or you permitted it. It's one of the two. You either caused it or you permitted it. You caused it actively or you permitted it by refusing to take the necessary step to prevent it. Once we begin to have this mindset, you are already thinking like a leader, because basically that's what leaders do.
Okay.
You look at how have I caused what is happening, or how have I failed to prevent what is happening. And those are the things that we need to begin to inculcate as leaders.
Okay, taking responsibility for ourselves and for the things that happen in our environment.
Exactly.
Now, I want us to move to, and I've spoken about people who are in school basically as an example. Now, for people who, there are a lot of people say, I finished from school, I don't have a job, there's nothing to do. But in the same country, we see people who were born, who are from very humble backgrounds, who are doing great things, who have made impact and they made wealth also. What is wrong with our mindset as young people? Fine, we understand that the environment is not conducive to start a business. Raising a capital is not very convenient. But as Christians, especially as people who know that we are not subject to the system of this world, though we are in this world, we are not of this world. Our economy is based on the word of God. As Christians and as young people, why do we still complain, even in church, that we don't have a job? What is wrong? Is it that something is wrong with God, with the government, or with us?
So there's nothing wrong with God, and there is nothing wrong. Well, there's nothing wrong with the government. It's safe to say that there's nothing wrong with the government. The government affects everybody. We have a lot of people who change jobs every day. They change their jobs and move from one occupation to another, even change careers, and they do well. So the problem is not about who we serve. The problem really is not about the government. The problem is about the individual.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who are basically unemployable. You see, I've been privileged to sit on interview panels a number of times, and I noticed that we have a large percentage of youths that cannot be employed. If you desire to work in, say, an oil firm, and you don't understand the basics of administration, you don't understand the basics of the industry, then how do you expect to be employed? Then you also have the question of confidence. A lot of people are not confident enough. You have people who, to step into an interview hall, we have to knock 3 times, pop their heads in first, and then a lot of funny things happen. You have some people almost prostrating totally. A lot of confidence issues come
Okay.
up, and then you're wondering, is this person really ready for this job? You also have a question of communication.
Before you continue, you said something about people not knowing a little bit of administration. Is that their fault? Some people believe that I have the certificate, I have a 2-1.
Okay.
Isn't that what you asked for? Isn't that sufficient?
Let me say emphatically at this point that your certificate is not enough. We need to get that into our minds as youths, particularly as Christians. You see, it's rather unfortunate that a number of these people we talk about are actually Christians. We've overpriced the place of prayer. Prayer is very important. However, only prayer will not do it. We need to begin to look inwards and look around us. You see, there are some things that even unbelievers do that we should learn from. The way they study, the way they prepare. We spend so much time praying, we spend so much time asking God for direction. Yes, you need to do that. However, you also need to understand where you are going into. You need to understand what you're going to face. A lot of people will not even bother to find out what the company is about or who are the interviewers. A lot of funny things happen and you're wondering. So it's important that we as Christian youths begin to do things that are beyond the usual. Do things, take responsibility for the problems that we're having, know that we caused them, and begin to look for change.
Okay. You also spoke about self-confidence. Self-confidence. I mean, that's the way some of us were raised. We were raised, the African culture does not encourage someone who is young to be very confident. Because if you are, they say you are proud.
Yes.
So when you come into a place, when someone is in the place of authority, older than you, expected to prostrate, when they talk to you, even when you are not at fault and you need to explain, you don't look into their eyes. We know that then when we're much younger, if you look into our parents' eyes, my mother will say she'll pluck out the eyes. Do you understand? So all of these things add up. Now you're meeting a complete stranger for an interview where you're not even sure you would make it. And then all the upbringing and everything you've had comes to play. How do you manage this and begin to school yourself for the next phase of your life?
I'll pick a word you just used. School yourself. You need to train yourself. You need to understand that there are some things that you don't learn in school. And there are some things that your culture will not help you. If you are focusing on what you learned at home and all you can think of is respect, you can think of is reverence to elders,
just obeying instructions. You're not allowed to use your discretion,
then you're going to have a problem in the corporate world. Because ordinarily, fine, obedience is important, respect is important. However, you're expected to use your discretion. You need to make decisions. Sometimes you need to argue to drive home your own points. If you cannot master these things, then oftentimes you now find people who are trying to do these things and they go to the other extreme. The argument becomes too violent and so on. So you need to school yourself. How do you do this? Engage with organizations. Begin to do volunteer work. Just attach yourself to organizations that can take you. There is one principle I learned when I was in school. There is no organization that will not take free staff. Just offer yourself for free, no pay.
And give your best.
And give your best.
Don't be a burden.
They will train you. They will teach you all those things. They will help you grow. By the time you face the world, like we always say, that you're facing the world, you're already a better person. You already have mastery of those things. A lot of the things that I do now, and my friends do, we learned them while we were in school, while we were doing all these freebies, attaching ourselves to organizations and so on. So you need to take responsibility for that. I'll keep coming back to the issue of responsibility. Nobody will help you to attain greatness. Only very few people will do that for you. Greatness is a decision you have to make by yourself. You need to decide to be great. You need to decide how far you want to go. You need to decide what you want to make out of your life.
Okay.
And begin to pursue it. Ask yourself, what are the things I need to do? What are the requirements? Sometimes you even find people who are not even aware of what it takes to be a successful employee. You are wondering, some people want to go into business and they don't even know the rudiments of business. So you need to begin to ask yourself, what are these things? What are the things that you must do to attain greatness? What are the things that you must do to get the things that you want in life? Begin to pursue those things rigorously, irrespective of what you have been taught, irrespective of the certificate you carry, irrespective of the culture, the tradition, irrespective of your friends.
That's deep and profound. So still talking about unemployment and being unemployable. what can people do? A lot of people still believe, even if some of our parents still say, just go to school and make a first class, you get a job. Just go to school and make a 2-1, you get a job. And people are in school, they don't learn how to communicate with people, they avoid problems. Anything that shakes their routine, school, church, class, library, anything that shakes that, they avoid it because they believe that that's the best way to be a good student, and they're not building their life skills. So how do you begin to work on this? Because by the time you come out of school into the world, you are so unprepared, and then there are too many demands from people who expect you to know a lot of things, and really you don't know them. What can we do? Do we have training institutes that help in Nigeria to do a self-evaluation and then begin to learn these things?
Okay, I'll start from the last question. We do have institutes in Nigeria. Okay. We have organizations that help you to build a better brand, to become a better person, to evaluate your capacity, to evaluate your strengths and your weaknesses, and to improve on them. Now, let me just jump quickly before I forget.
Okay.
A first class or a 2-1 is no guarantee of a job. It's a fallacy that we've been made to believe over the years. A lot of people tell us, make a first class and you have a job secured. I tell you, even I've seen people who came with masters from outside this country and are jobless. To shock you, but that's the truth. We have people who have masters from outside the country, studied undergraduate, postgraduate, and everything outside this country, came back to Nigeria, no job for them. You can develop yourself. So there are so many skills that are required when you're working.
Okay.
That nobody will teach you. For example, communication, like I said earlier, dressing, that's what we call packaging, the way you package yourself, your presentation skills. Can you use a computer well? You know, a lot of youths, when you talk to them about being computer savvy, ICT knowledgeable and all that, they tell you yes they are, but the only thing they know is Facebook, Twitter, MySpace and so on. How well can you use the facilities available to you? What about your people skills, or confidence, marketing skill? A lot of other skills are involved. All these organizations that will help you, they will train you in all these things, help you to develop mastery of communication, how to relate with people, emotional intelligence, and a whole lot of other things. So it's critical that you begin to find out who can help you in these things, and attach yourself to them, pay whatever price is required to become a better person.
I think you said something profound, volunteer. A lot of people think about money a lot, like, and we can't blame them. I mean, in Nigeria, I've not been anywhere else outside Nigeria. In Nigeria, I know that success means money. Don't tell us you're successful if you don't have money. That is what they believe. So a lot of people, when you ask them, what are you doing? I'm a volunteer with this organization. Feel how much they pay you? It's an arrangement. You know, I meet the CEO, but they don't pay me anything. And all of a sudden, you realize that you can't hang out with your friends, you can't do the things you want to do, and then you're distracted. What should be our priority?
Priority. Know what you want in life. It's not everybody that can travel with you on the road you want to take. Some people will definitely have to be left behind. Some will have to drop by the wayside. Lot did not follow Abraham to the end. So it's not everybody that can go with you where you're going. So if they don't understand where you're going, they don't understand the route you're taking, then probably they're not supposed to be with you on that road. You may meet later, when you have attained what they define as success. But if your process is not suitable to them, then you may have to depart for now. One of my mentors will always say something. He says, don't be more loyal to your past than you are to your future. Your friends, your family members will one day constitute your past, but your future, you alone, is guaranteed to get there. You are the only one that you are guaranteed that you will get to your future. So you have to be careful who you tag along with, who you carry along. If your friends don't understand what you are doing voluntarily, you don't need to explain. Sometimes we even waste too much time explaining to them. Trying to explain to people, they try to convince you.
Because we need acceptance.
Well, yeah, you need acceptance, but why don't you find acceptance with people who understand you? I would rather, I know when I was seeking volunteer work all around, during all this ASU strike and so on, and I was going from place to place seeking, my family members did not understand what I was doing. They felt, how can you use your money, transport yourself to work, at the end of the month, nothing, and then you still come back to us and ask for allowance, you know. It was not making sense. But when I discovered that I was not getting the acceptance I needed from home, I turned to my friends who were in the same mind frame, and then we worked together They were doing volunteering work in Lagos, in Abuja, and so on. I was doing mine in Ekiti State, and it was making a lot of sense because we're comparing notes. This is what I learned. This is how this will help me, and so on. So I found acceptance amongst those that were going in the same direction that I was going at that time, not regarding the strange feeling I was getting at home.
Okay.
So you need to understand that not everybody will understand where you are going. Not everybody will be able to go there with you, and the few people that will be able to go there with you may not be able to follow you in the way that you're going. So you need to understand that you cannot be more loyal to your past than you are to your future, and you cannot be also be responsible for the way they perceive you. I also like to say one thing, that people may fight your process, but nobody will resist your product.
I like the sound of that. People may fight your process, but nobody will resist your product.
Now that's I'm not trying to use rhymes or anything, but the fact is, everybody may say your process is not good enough. They may not understand what you're doing, but when the result comes, they clap. So why don't you just wait for the clap then?
Yeah, I'll wait for the clap, definitely. Okay, before we go on break, on a short break, I like us to talk about still answering the leadership question, the role of school. I believe that in the society there are three major institutes that is responsible for how people turn out: the home, the church, religious institutes, and the school. We spend most of our lives in these three places. Most of our lives. Every other one is just little. Now the school plays a major role. We spend almost in Nigeria, we spend 6 years in primary school, secondary school 6 years, and the university you spend minimum of 4 years. So that is 6 plus 6, 12 plus 4, that is 16. You are formed already. How does the school help prepare us for leadership? How do our lecturers mentor us for leadership?
The first question you should even ask is, are they even prepared for leadership? Those are supposed to help you lead. I'm not trying to put anybody down or something, but the facts must be said. You can't give what you don't have, like it is said in law. You don't give what you don't have. Most of these people don't even understand what leadership is. While in school, most people were tempted to just face academics and forget every other thing. But the truth is, you need to get involved in a lot of things. The more challenged you are mentally, the more you grow, the wider your capacity. I have a lot of friends who wonder the things I do now, and I look at them and say, where were you when I was doing those things then? Fine, I may not have made as good a grade as I should have, or as they did, but looking at where we are now, I think there's a difference. I'm better off, not because I am more financially stable than they are, but because I have a better prospect, and there's this feel of, this guy is going to do something great.
It's got potential.
It's got potential. So you need to begin to engage yourself as students. Engage yourself in every activity possible. While I was in school, I was involved in everything a student can be involved in positively. I was into sports.
I like that. Positively and godly.
Godly, yes. I was into sport. I was in church. I was doing ICQ. That's a social entrepreneurship thing. I was a businessman. I was everywhere. And all those things have helped to build my capacity. I make presentations before bankers. Then so like, oh, bankers, selling to bankers, serious problem. But I learned it. So now presentation is not a problem for me. I learned how to interface with representatives, how to interface with leaders, how to interface with administrators. Now I do it effortlessly. So those are the things. I'm not trying to blow my trumpet here, but the fact is, you need to begin to engage in so many activities. You need to do so many things. In doing them, you will make mistakes. In making the mistakes, you will learn how not to do these things. When you learn how not to do them, somehow you will stumble on how to do them. When you stumble on how to do them, you become a master of it. It's as simple as that. But you see, a lot of people are afraid of making the mistakes. We are afraid of doing things wrongly. We are afraid of being laughed at. We are afraid of so many things. We need to cast the fear aside. Take responsibility for what I call our trajectory. How far you want to go, how fast you want to go, and begin to pursue it like you are being chased.
Okay, pursue it like you're being chased. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back from this break, Michael Olaniyan will still be with us in the studio discussing the topic, the leadership question. Please do not go anywhere. back. It's still our world, the world of youth, the world of impact, the only place where we celebrate success. Well, it's today we're looking at the topic, the leadership question, with Michael Olaniyan, who is a life coach, a lawyer, and a partner with ICQ, or a partner in ICQ Nigeria. And if you're just joining us, I'm pleased to inform you that you've missed a lot. But now that you have joined us, don't go anywhere, because this young man has been blowing my mind. He has said a lot of things. Don't be too greatness is a decision you make for yourself.
Absolutely.
Now people can resist your process, but nobody will resist or despise your product. He is loaded and is a blessing. Well, Michael, before we went on break, you said students should involve in as many things as possible. Some people cannot manage many things. How can they still find these experiences that are not within the school curriculum? How should they manage it?
Let's say you don't have the capacity to do so many things, which I honestly disagree with. We all have capacity to take as many things as possible. We only have not pushed our limits yet. So until you stretch yourself, you don't know how far you can go.
Okay.
And even when you stretch yourself, you'll find that you can still go further. But then let's assume that you can't take so many things. Why don't you take the ones you can?
Okay.
There are some things that you have a flair for. For example, I'll use myself again as an example. I'm a lawyer, or I was a law student.
Okay.
So it's just natural that I speak a lot. I have to do a lot of talking because that's the field I'm going into. But I need to look at what other things can I do that will require my speaking. So that took me into marketing.
Okay.
That took me into coaching. Now I'm not talking about life coach that I do now. I'm talking about football coach. I was on the field every week. Yes, I was on the field every week. So it required a lot of talking, motivation, convincing people, a lot of decisions to make. Let's assume that those are the only two things I could take. Why don't you just do those things and do them excellently? Become so good at those things that you become a force to reckon with on your campus. If it's just one thing you want to do, I always emphasize it's a given that you have to be active in church. I don't need to talk about that.
It's not negotiable.
It's not negotiable. So you need to be active academically and spiritually. But aside those two, you need to find something else, somewhere else you can channel your energy. Sports, social enterprises, business, a whole lot of other things that you can do. I encourage people to do a bit of unionism, not the violent one. Take up leadership roles, contest for election. It will teach you. If you win, you learn you learn the value of friendship. You learn the value of network. If you lose, you learn the beauty of losing. There's beauty in losing sometimes. But I don't want to go into that. Sometimes it's good to fail in some things.
Yeah, it is.
So that you can manage success well. So you learn all those things. You will not know how much it has helped you until you get outside. I attended an interview recently with some of my colleagues, and I discovered that there was a bit of connection involved. And I did not get the job. It was fat paying anyway. I did not get the job. And I realized that about 90% of us did not get that job. I happened to be the only one that was not distraught by it. Life just continued for me. A lot of my colleagues were totally downcast. They lost it completely. They lost confidence. They lost the strength of their mind to go on. Other opportunities came up. I was no longer interested. I felt that was the only job I was interested in as far as the public sector was concerned. It's this one or nothing else. I'll go back to my private practice. But for them, other opportunities that came up, they were not willing to take it up. Why? Because they just lost hope, lost confidence. Why? Because they never lost before. That was their first loss.
That's true.
For me, I had made money, lost money, attended interviews, been rejected, been accepted. I had made marketing pitches, been asked to come back, got there, and then they say no. So I'm used to receiving yes, no, come back later, maybe, and so on. So it was not new to me, but for some of my colleagues that were doing these things for the first time, it was their first time. So they completely lost their nerves. So it's important that you do all these things, learn how to lose without intending to lose anyway, but sometimes you just put in your best effort and you just don't get it. All these activities will help you to learn those things while you still have a safety net. You see, I believe that while you are in school, you have the opportunity to fail as many times as possible without being crushed. A lot of my business strength that I have now, what people call business savvy, I learned them while I was in school, while I still had alawi from home. So I could afford to put everything into one business and have it crash, because I know that hunger will not kill me. I could still get money. But if I do that now, I'm at a greater risk because I have more responsibilities. So you cannot compare me with some of my friends or colleagues who are just coming up into the business world now. They definitely will still make the same mistakes that I made. Maybe a variation of the mistakes I made. They will make mistakes, definitely. But they don't have a safety net anymore, which I had then. I cannot make those same mistakes anymore because I have learned how not to do business, and I've learned how to do business. So those are the things that you need to, as students, begin to go into. Sell biscuits, sell bread in your hostel.
Yes, for the future.
Yes, for the future. You need, nobody will prepare you, nobody will tell you, nobody teaches financial intelligence in school.
They don't. They need to start doing that.
So you need to, what if they don't? Then what do? You'll learn it yourself. Get books, study, attach yourself to mentors. There's been a lot of arguments on the issue of mentoring, but well, like it or not, you need mentors. You need people who can pace you, who can help you. Attach yourself to them. Let them help you learn those things. Let them grow. Let them help you grow, rather. And you find that when you leave school, you are a better person. You can face life the way it really is. The school environment is fake. That's just the truth. You are expected to be in class. There's a timetable for school. There's a timetable for church. If you are not in church, somebody will ask after you. Maybe your cell leader, your hostel, somebody will check on you. When you get out into the real world, everybody for himself. Thank God for the church. The church tries to absorb everybody, take care of us and all that. But what if you are not so privileged? What if you are on your own? What if you have not yet been integrated into a church system yet? Are you going to lose faith? Are you going to fall off? Are you going to lose hope? Those are things that you need to learn. You need to master them while you're in school. You need to learn how to be on your own while you're in school. You need how to accept failure, accept a no, accept difficulties, challenges, and face them.
Okay, finally, before we draw the curtain on this segment, one of the things I'd like to talk about is self-development. Two things: who develops who, and how do we develop yourself from your own experience? You've come this far, you've achieved a lot at your level and at your age, and you could still achieve more. I mean, what were the things you did? Do you always go on the mountain and fast for 41 days? I mean, seriously, in the streets, not talking to any man, drinking nothing and eating nothing. What exactly do you do to develop yourself? And who develops who?
I wish I could say I did a lot of 41 days and mountaineering. But the truth is, yes, prayers. A lot of prayers went into it. It would be foolishness to say I got where I am by my own capacity. No, I did not. There was a lot of prayers, a lot of fasting, a lot of breaking down, crying sometimes. But then, the first thing God blessed me with is the ability to cast a vision. I just had an idea of where I was going. I'm not there yet, definitely, but I know where I'm going. I see where I want to end up. So I prayed for capacity to get there, for the focus that is required, because I tell you, a lot of focus is needed. Then, you need to ask yourself, what are the ingredients for where you're going? You need to know what you need to execute the plans for your life.
Okay.
And begin to pursue those things. Acquire the skills that you need. I knew I would need to have confidence. Let me shock you a little. I was born shy. Like the first day I was going to hold the microphone in my church, I held it with one hand, just shaking. I held it with the second hand, both were vibrating. But over time, I learned to face the camera. I learned to face an audience, no matter how large. I learned to speak with people. Those are skills that I acquired over time. Did I acquire them on my own? Yes and no. I read books. I practiced. But beyond that, I asked people, how did you do these things? Never be afraid of asking questions. Ask people who can do it. Obviously, some people are better than me. I asked them, how do you do these things? Where do you get your confidence? How come you can do this better than I can? They tell me, they help me. Some will say, well, they'll just give you some lies and push you away. Some will be honest enough to share their experiences with you. Never be afraid of a no. As a matter of fact, before you ask the question, you've already received a no. But when you ask the question, you have the potential of getting a yes or a no. So why don't you just ask the question? So I ask a lot of people. I am attached to so many people who help my life, who help me to grow. My family members, they may not understand where I'm going, but there's one thing I value about them. when I go out to speak or go out for a public function, one of them tags along. And then we get back home and do a lot of review. You did this, you threw your hand like this, you were doing something, you were shaking, you were that. So they helped me to grow. So my family members will help you to grow. Your family members rather will help you to grow. Your parents, your teachers, your mentors, your pastor, use everybody around you. Let them help you. You will grow through them.
Wow, Michael has said a whole lot, and I believe that you have found more than one or two things to take out of this to inspire yourself and to move from where you are to the next phase of your life. One of the things I am not going to forget so easily, and not definitely going to forget for a very long time, is that people may resist your process. They may think that your process is rubbish, it's too low, you're not flying and moving at the right pace, but definitely they will not despise your product. So while you're going through your process and people are despising you, be motivated to ensure that you arrive at the right destination. Michael, I want to say thank you so much for coming. God bless you. I mean, by the grace of God, we will see you at a higher place, at a higher level. This is the least you would ever be. You're going places in Jesus' name. God will give you greater depths of wisdom and creativity, and He will bless you with unique ideas. And even for our viewers, some of them will not say, he's praying for the guests, he's not praying for us. God will bless us with unique ideas. We'll take a musical break now, and when we come back, Michael will be gone. Dr. Arogundade will be with you for his own segment. Do not go anywhere. It's still Our World.
Whenever I call, you are there. Whenever I pray, Lord, you hear me. I'm not alone, this I know. What can I bring to you, Lord, but the song of praise? How can I do? And you called me your own. What more can I say? All can I do?
Viewers at home, I'm excited to be here with you today in this segment. My name remains Odon Ayotunde Arugundade. It's our word, the word of the youth. I want to believe you're excited to be part of this segment today. I want to thank you for being part of this segment always, for those who have been watching us on this program. And if today is your first time of joining us in this segment, this is a segment whereby we encourage each other. It's an empowerment segment. And today, I'll be speaking to you on what I titled Self-Control. I will be speaking on self-control. That's the topic we are discussing today in this segment of our world. What is self-control? Self-control simply is the ability to control yourself without being forced or without being compelled to do so. Self-control, which is the attribute that we're looking at today as we journey together as young ones. It's the ability to control yourself without being forced or compelled. Now, in life that we are in, there are things you can control and there are things you cannot control. There are things you can control and there are things you cannot control. Why? What are the things you cannot control? For example, you cannot control your place of birth. You cannot say, oh, I want to be born in Nigeria, I want to be born in USA, or you want to be born in England. You can't control your place of birth. You have no control over your parents, as in the choice of parents. Oh, I want to be born to a rich father or a rich mother. It's not under your control. You have no choice over that. To a large extent, you might not be able to control the government, but there is something you can control, and that is what we are focusing on today. Self-control. You can control yourself, and that's one of the greatest power God has given to us as human beings. Self-control. A wise man said, you may not be able to control a bird from flying over your head, but you can control it from making its nest or its nest over your head. What are we saying, friends? You may not be able to control other people's action towards you, but you can control your reaction. Friends, brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that this is a powerful weapon that the Almighty God has given to everyone, both young and old, and that is self-control. Your ability to control yourself. And this trait, I want to tell you, is seen in most of the successful people in the world. Ability to control themselves. If you fail, or if you lack, or you fail to use this ability positively, what happens? You are not likely to succeed. And I know you are bound to succeed, and you are on your way to greatness. And that's why we have this segment of our world, the world of the youth. And we say we are encouraging ourselves today on making use of this power that is endowed in us, which is the power of self-control, ability to control yourself without being forced. And I want to tell you that people who fail to control themselves fall into category of failures. We have quite a number of examples that we can look into, even as we encourage ourselves right from the Bible days. Let me tell you one of them, or maybe we'll examine 2-3 people to know that this is real. Look at Esau, for example. Brother Esau. What killed him? Inability to control his appetite. It's his own appetite for food that he failed to control that put him in problem. You remember the story. If you're a Bible scholar, you know that the story is in Genesis 25, verses 29 to 32, saying that Esau lacked the ability to control his appetite. He believed so much that anything comes, he must eat at the expense of other things. If you read that story very well, it says, what is birthright to me now that I die of hunger? He failed to control his appetite. Do you know, friends, that a lot of young ladies, young men have gone astray because of what they will eat? Free lunch. Oh, please take me out, take me out. Let's go for Valentine. Take me out, take me out. Let's go for free lunch. They have sold their birthright as a result of lack of self-control. Friends, you are destined for greatness. Don't sell your birthright. Don't sell your greatness because of free lunch. And one of my pastors tells me that there's no free lunch anywhere. Even in Freetown, there is no free lunch. So friends, don't sell yourself because of food. Esau lost it all because he lacked the ability to control himself as regards food. It might look so small. You might say, what is food after all? But friends, don't sell your birthright because of food. Don't give up your value because of what you will eat or what you will drink. That is one area that self-control comes in. And number 2, that we also look at is control your sexual appetite. Some young men, young ladies are falling short of greatness because of lack of control of their sexual appetite. They fail to delay sexual gratification. As a psychologist, I know that it's part of normal development for adolescents to have sexual urges, but you need to delay gratification. You need to delay satisfaction. That's why we'll talk about self-control. You don't just sleep anyhow, anywhere, any place. If you do that, they will call it abnormal behavior. So you need to wait for the right time, wait for the right person and the right time before you gratify your sexual appetite. There are some people too that we have them written down that have failed and they lost out because they failed to control their sexual appetite. One of them is King Solomon. King Solomon lost it all because he failed to control his sexual passion, love for women. And you must have heard the story before, or you must have read it. And as Bible scholar, you can also go and find it and read it again in 1 Kings 11 verse 1. Solomon loved many women. And because of his love for women, his sexual rascality, his heart was turned away from serving God. I'm encouraging you, friends, you need to control your sexual appetite. Even as young men, as young women, control your sexual appetite. Don't say your birthright. Don't say others are doing it. Oh, all my friends are dating. Well, that's your friend, not you. All my friends are doing it. But you are not them. You are unique. You are special. Don't compare yourself to another. Recognize the uniqueness of yourself. Others may be doing it. Others may be sleeping out. Others may be eating their cake before the wedding day. But friend, if you want to be great, just as you have been destined to be great, then you need to control your sexual appetite. Self-control. That's what we are looking at. If you want to be great, you need to control yourself. It is within your power to control yourself. Look at another person. Samson, a man born great. Great, a Nazarene from the womb. Saint with anointing. But what happened? He lost everything are the laps of Delilah. What are we saying? Lack of self-control will end you, will cut short your destiny. Your destiny will not be cut off in Jesus' name. So friends, we need to control this sexual appetite so that we don't lose what God has destined for us. There are quite a number. We might not be able to look at all of them, but you know them. Talk about David. David also fell because he failed to control his sight. He failed to control his sight. While others were in the battle, fighting and war, he was busy walking and strolling on the top of the roof, and he saw a woman bathing, taking a bath. And because he failed to control his sight, he looked and looked and looked, and before you know it, he fell. So friend, we need to control what we are looking at. What are you watching? You need to control yourself. It might not be this easy, that easy, but it's a choice that you have. If indeed you want to be great, it's a choice you need to make. Just as Job made that choice. He said, I will put a guide over my eyes. Why then should I look at a virgin? So what are we saying? You can set a guide over your eyes. What are you watching? Are you still there addicted to pornography? Are you there addicted to game? What are you addicted to? You can make a change today so that you don't lose your birthright. So that you don't lose your greatness. You will surely be great. Then we have others. Moses, he didn't have to control his temper. He became unnecessarily angry and he did what he ought not to do. You need to control your emotion. You need control. This control, which we term self-control, is within your power. It is self-control, your ability to control yourself. So don't let me just tell you about those who failed. Let me also tell you that about those who succeeded because they controlled themselves. One of them is Daniel. Daniel succeeded because he chose to control himself. In Daniel chapter 1 verse 8, we are told that Daniel purposed in his heart not to defile himself. You can also purpose in your heart. You can make a choice. It's in your power. It's within you. He purposed that he will control his appetite, that he will not eat defiled food, which is against what Esau failed to do. Esau failed to control his appetite, but Daniel controlled his appetite. And what happened? He became very, very great. You will surely be great. But there is something you need to do. You need to control yourself. Yes, time will not permit us to take more, but look at Joseph. Joseph, for example, also controlled his sexual appetite. He controlled his sexual appetite. When the Potiphar's wife said, lie with me, young man, I'll be giving you free food. You'll be the king of all in Potiphar's house. But what happened? Joseph controlled himself. We're told that he ran away. He left his clothes. Why? Because he refused to be a prey, which was what Samson did. Solomon did, and he fell. But Joseph, a young man in his 20s, resisted sexual appetite. I'm saying, friend, if you want to be great, if you want to make it in life, if you want to stand out, if you want to stand tall, then you need to control your sexual appetite. You need to set a guard. You need to purpose in your heart that I'm not going to do it until I'm married. And I'm not going to do it to just anybody. I'm going to restrict myself to my husband and to my wife. I'm encouraging young man, that young woman. Your future is bright. Don't sell your birthright. You need to control yourself. And that is the key point today, which is self-control. Finally, this self-control is in your mind. Everything you need to do begins in your mind. Your mind is like a garden, and you are the gardener. You can control every part of your body from your mind. Every part of your body from your mind. If you make up your mind that you're not going to sleep with any man or any woman, it's not when you see the man removing his clothes that you change your mind. No, you must have decided, program your mind, purposed in your heart beforehand that you are not going to defile yourself. So whatever you are doing, friend, it starts from the mind. And that is why the scripture that covers everything today is from Proverbs 4:23. Say, guard your heart with all diligence. Guard your heart with all diligence. From out of it flow the issues of life. So to control yourself, it begins from your mind. Your mind controls every part of you. So friend, guard this heart. Don't allow weeds to grow in this your mind. Don't allow death to stay there. Clean the mind, make it work. I trust God that you will surely make it in life. As I tell you, the world is waiting for you. You will surely manifest. We will reign together in life. Don't wait till a later time before you make your decision. Decide today to control yourself. It's within your reach. It's within your power. I want to hear from you, friends. Please feel free, as some are doing. Write me on Odunayo Arogundade at yahoo.com. Odunayo Arogundade at yahoo.com. I want to hear from you. I want to share with you. I want to journey together with you. Surely you will be great. See you on top. It's your turn and it's your time to shine. You will shine and you will reign in life. You shall be celebrated. God bless you as you control yourself. See you next time. Don't go away. The program continues. It's indeed our word, the word of the youth. God bless you. Bye for now.
Well, we have come to the end of our word today, and it has been a very interesting evening for me, and I'm also sure for you too. Well, do not forget one thing that I have tried to emphasize on today's show that our guest in the first segment told us is that people may despise your process, they may resist it, but nobody will despise the product if you make the right product. Actually, if you arrive at the right destination, and the decision to be great is all yours. Go out there, make impact, inspire your world, and live your dreams. God help you, God help me. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Tommy Ibadi once again. Good night.
You've done for me, for the life you give, yeah. You brought me close to you, and you called me your own. What more can I say? How can I do?